going to go 3 wide.
And Andretti Carr moving up here at Mid-Ohio.
Turn number 4, side by side through the corner.
Reedus BK and Robert McGinnis, a dead heat at the exit of turn number 2. Side by side, and Oliver Askew scores.
Indy Pro getting set to go. DeFrancesco and Robb in the front row. Suleiman and Petrov on row 2. Thompson and Kaminsky on row 3. Out of turn number 12, about time to go racing. Aaron Likens, the official start of the road to Indy, has the green flag in his hands. Field looks good. Into the punch-off zone. Throttle up. Green, green, green. Great start for DeFrancesco. Solid jump really early in the punch-off zone. Locks the brakes up a little bit coming into turn number 1. Good start for Stingray Robb as well, trying to roll the outside. That'll give him a good run out of turn number 2. Stingray, we have one driver 4 wheels off. Somebody went all the way off and fall into the tail of the field. It looks like potentially one of the Pabst cars in the darker car, but I may be wrong. Yeah, potentially Colin Kaminsky. Couple eyes on the monitors here for you, trying to figure out who it was. We think that might have been Kaminsky that went 4 wheels off in the exit of turn number 2. Able to keep the car going in the right direction, sliding into position. We will update as we can. Good fighting further back. Again, the opening lap, obviously the primary opportunity to get initial passing maneuvers done. Once you get settled into the train, it's a lot harder, as we saw in the USF 2000 race. So, again, these drivers are doing what they can to settle in, having maybe got a spot or 2 here. We'll see how it shakes down when they come back around. But first and foremost, I think, the simple fact, Devlin DeFrancesco jumping out into the lead. Stingray Robb, I think, in the number 2, slotting into second. That's crucial for him as well. He has enough of a gap that he can settle in and finish second here and be fine. 49-point lead coming in. Look at that scrap further back. That's 4th. That's 5th and 6th, rather. 5th and 6th, Artem Petrov and Hunter McElroy. That's for 5th. McElroy trying to go to work here on Artem. Right behind them, Daniel Frost and Antoine Camo, the Turn 3 Motorsports drivers. They currently run in the 7th and 8th positions. Not sure what happened to Corey Enders on the opening lap. Looks like he may have had an issue as well. So drivers all settling into the run here. Enders able to get by. Oh, there's Enders there. Enders battling further back with Kaminsky. Or that actually might be Enders battling with Finelli, I think. Charles Finelli in the Fat Boy Racing. Enders has been able to get by, so move Enders back up to 11th, Finelli down to 12th. There's your lead battle coming out of turn number 8 and 9. Through 11A and B early in this run. Again, a 25-lap race for the drivers here in Indy Pro 2000, our second run on that road to Indy. And again, the drivers in this program going after big money to try to make the jump to the Indy Lights Series. The winner, of course, winning that scholarship to move to Indy Lights in 2021. That is going to be a stellar battle. And as we know, with the announcement coming on Wednesday, the joint announcement from IndyCar and Anderson Promotions, Indy Lights will be back in 2021. They've reworked the scholarship numbers for the drivers moving up. And, of course, Indy Lights moving from USF to Indy Pro. Indy Lights, of course, no scholarship this year because no Indy Lights, no one going to the IndyCar program in 2021. That'll go on hold. But 2 Indy Pro 2000 champions and the champion in the FRA program, the Formula Regional Americas Championship, will be moving into Indy Lights, which will be very interesting. Kyle Kirkwood, of course, dominating the action last year for a majority of the year. A lot of race wins. Came down to the final battle for Kirkwood, but he still was able to get that championship. So he's been on hiatus, kind of sitting here on the sidelines with a scholarship to move to Indy Lights. Really looking forward to that in 2021. We'll see which champion we get to emerge from this particular lineup of tremendous drivers in Indy Pro. And Linus Lindquist has lined up things to wrap it up in FRA, so he'll be looking to figure out how his program will work for next year. That program, of course, coming through HPD. DeFrancesco, fast lap here as well, a 1:14.331. His gap about 0.8 of a second from Stingray Robb. The funny thing is, Stingray could essentially finish second in every race of all 5 races and still have a solid point lead in the championship. For Stingray Robb, it's all about consistency here now. If he's got a car to win, you go win it. If you don't, second, third, fourth, strong place to be. All depends on who's running out front. DeFrancesco, though, of course, the primary challenger. That's the pressure he's putting on, trying to get some race wins. We'll see how everything plays out here, though, this particular weekend with a limited number of tires. The 4 sets of tires, as always. Limited number of tire sets for everyone. And, of course, 3 races, 2 qualifying runs. We qualify for race 2 tomorrow morning. And then the race 3 grid set by the fast times in race 2. So, got to figure guys are going to put fresh tires on for race 2. You want to make sure you qualify well, get a good lap time there to potentially get up front for race 3. We'll see how Tire Deg plays. No real challenge on the racetrack at this point. Colin Kaminsky closing back up here. That might be the best battle on the racetrack now. Kaminsky trying to close back up here on Jacob Abel. That will be for the 9th spot. Colin Kaminsky comes into the event in 9th place in points. He will leapfrog, I believe, up into the potentially move his way into the 8th spot by the end of the weekend. At least by the end of the day, maybe by the end of the weekend. DeFrancesco, Robb, Suleiman, Thompson, Petrov, the top 5. Thompson turning his fast lap, 3/10 quicker than Manuel Suleiman last time by. He's 1.3 back, so look for Parker Thompson to potentially get himself up to a podium finish. He's had a couple of really good runs here over the last races. 6th at Worldwide Technology Raceway on the oval, 3rd in the first race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, top 5 in all 3 races at Indy. Had obviously a 13th position in Mid-Ohio while leading, had that engine issue. That race was essentially his to win. Came back the next day for P2. So Parker Thompson really starting to dial things in the number 9 machine as he runs in front of Artem Petrov. Suleiman a little quicker this time by. Again, watching this fight further back. Here's a move to the inside for Kaminsky. Thinking about going by Abel. Can't quite pull the trigger. Your primary passing opportunity at the end of the front straightaway here, and you've got to be aggressive in taking it. 5 laps down, 20 to go very early in a 25-lap race. Stingray Robb with 306 points. Devlin DeFrancesco, 257. $49 points. Take 1 away, make it 48, because obviously DeFrancesco qualifying on the pole. So he's pulling away here still as your leader. Here comes the gap on the front straightaway. Drivers working their way through turn number 12, as you see on the coverage here. Using the circuit cameras for live coverage here this weekend. Standalone event. Normally, of course, we run with the NTT IndyCar Series. Here's this battle coming up for that 9th position. There's the shot there. Around the outside comes Kaminsky. Colin Kaminsky trying the outside here on that move on Jacob Abel, and he takes the position. Great camera work by the Road to Indy TV team here. Kieran Gill dropping the shot there just as they came into the braking zone of turn number 1. DeFrancesco keeps dropping the fast lap of the race, and that's going to be important. Bonus point, every point. I know I kind of always go back and harp on that one particular season, but it's the best example we have. We have had so many championships where it's so close. But 2014, last year of the old car in the Indy Lights program, remember it was Gabby Chavez versus Jack Harvey. Chavez ended up winning the race, the final race, I believe. Or Harvey, otherwise, whatever it was, they had tied in points at Sonoma. They both had exactly the same points at the end of the season. What's the tiebreaker? Most wins. They both had exactly the same amount of wins. The tiebreaker ended up going down to the scholarship to go to IndyCar on the most second-place finishes. All it would have taken was one more fast lap, one more pole, one more bonus point somewhere along the line where one of those drivers didn't capitalize on all the points that are up for grabs, and that would have changed that particular championship. It could have been Jack Harvey's. It could have been Gabby Chavez. Both drivers, of course, have gone on to great careers. Gabby ran a number of Indy 500s. He's now finding considerable success in sports car racing. We know Jack Harvey, of course, with Meyershank Racing, and what he's been able to do to solidify his career in the NTT IndyCar Series. Again, one of our highlight drivers coming out of the Indy Lights program, 2 times second-place finisher, and still getting the opportunity for a career with Michael Shank. And, of course, Jack, one of the absolute success stories of the Road to Indy program. But every point is absolutely crucial, and that's why that fast lap right now for Devlin DeFrancesco is so important when we're talking about this battle. I love when I get on a tangent here or start picking out some memories that I have. I don't have all the memories filled in. I have stats potentially wrong. I get someone like Diane Swintel or Steve Wittick. They're always buzzing me on my phone. I got it on my watch. Diane Swintel says, yeah, Jack Harvey actually swept Sonoma. So there you go. That year in Sonoma, Jack Harvey swept the weekend in Sonoma, but to come into a tie in points with Gabby Chavez. Gabby, of course, getting the championship. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. Like I said, there's always one of our Road to Indy supporters, either one of the staff or one of the media people that are quick to provide me with the information I need, and I do appreciate that intensely. DeFrancesco, Robb, Suleiman, Thompson, and Petrov still the top 5. Thompson had a better run there on Suleiman for a while and got it down significantly, but it's 2.5 seconds now as Manuel settled into a nice pace. Suleiman 7th in point. Parker Thompson is 6th in points. They are separated by about 6 points in total. So, yeah, this is a fight for 6th place overall in points as well. They're actually potentially trying to get up here on Hunter McElroy, who runs behind them. Manuel Suleiman 3rd, Parker Thompson 4th, Hunter McElroy 6th. So that's kind of that battle right now between – it actually is going to end up being between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th all fighting it out because Robb and DeFrancesco 1-2 here, 2-1, looking to stretch their positions. Devlin DeFrancesco 14 points ahead of Artem Petrov and will extend that by 8 points or more. Of course, fast lap of the race, most laps led, so DeFrancesco trying to pull away a little bit. This is slowly coming in to being a 2-driver battle for this championship. Of course, we look forward to seeing both of these drivers moving to Indy Lights in 2021. Devlin DeFrancesco, after running a number of years in the European open wheel junior formula categories, electing to come back over here to the United States, to North America, hooked up with Andretti Steinbrenner Autosports. And, with that connection, of course, here in the Indy Pro 2000 category, having the fact that Indy Lights was shelved and put on hiatus for this year, the team he has surrounding him right now at Andretti Steinbrenner are a number of the top people that you would see at Andretti Autosports or Andretti Steinbrenner in the Indy Lights program. So probably just going to be an easy transition for DeFrancesco to move to the Andretti stable in Indy Lights next year. Working already with Doug Zister, who has won a number of Indy Lights championships as the engineer. Jessica Mace as well, one of the mechanics on the car. Former Mechanic of the Year, IndyCar Mechanic of the Year for the Indy Lights program. So DeFrancesco really settling into this program. And it's interesting when you look at his body of work throughout the year. Only 1 win, but still 257 points. A 2nd at Road America, followed up with a 4th. Then at Mid-Ohio in that triple header, 7th, 2nd, and 3rd. 4th on his first ever oval race at Lucas Oil Raceway. It was really impressive at the end of that one. Turned around and then won at Worldwide Technology Raceway on that big track at Gateway. And then 5th, 2nd, and 8th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Really the only wrinkle was the issues that he had at Mid-Ohio. 14th and 11th. He'd be much more into the hunt. But then, of course, you've got Stingray Robb with 5 wins on the season, 4 of the last 5, as he kind of stepped up at Indianapolis to grab hold of the championship. Hence the 49-point lead. Over a full race points for Stingray Robb. DeFrancesco trying to make up a total of 8 points. 33 points on offer, and then 25 for second. It will be an 8-point advantage. We get him down to 41 points back. 4 races to go. And again, he would have to essentially get like around 10.5, 10.5 points per race average to be able to get that championship back. And that is literally first back to fourth. If he won every race and Stingray Robb was fourth in every race, he'd be able to take it away. All it takes is one issue, though, and remember, we're going to the Concrete Canyon Grand Prix of St. Petersburg for a street race to wrap this thing up. Driver coming down pit lane, I believe that might be Charles Finelli coming down pit lane as the leaders were coming around to him. He'll come through pit lane, maybe a drive-through for him. Good call. He'll come back out onto the racetrack with open track. Oh, I like this fight continuing here further back. There's trouble for Daniel Frost. Frost is slowed coming up the front straightaway. Daniel Frost slowing on the front straightaway. That's your P4 point guy, and he is pulling to the inside of the racetrack, as you can see. There he is, camera one, into turn one. You can see the car of Fat Boy Racing's Charles Finelli pulling back out, and then it's Daniel Frost pulling to the inside of the racetrack. I don't know that we'd go full course yellow with this right now. He's pulled off the track. Aaron Lyken's thinking about it. He's got the flag out. Just a held yellow at start-finish now, folks. So essentially just a stationary corner yellow. That car is to the position where the crew could, or a crew could get there and pull him just this side of the wall a little bit. You can see it on the camera, as I can, that he pulled off the track, was not able to get all the way into pit lane. At this point, I don't think we've gone full course yellow. All the drivers will see it. It's not really a place you're going to see anybody make contact coming in. So it's not really a dangerous spot on the racetrack. I'm sure that race control talking about what they can do to get that car potentially off. I'm sure you can see there the AMR safety team getting mobilized from the inside of row number one. They'll walk their way down there and potentially be able to get that car pushed in. I would assume the crew will potentially back out there as we get back to racing action, get it hooked up, and then dragged off into pit lane. So trouble there for Daniel Frost. He's going to fall to the tail of the field. And again, a driver in the fourth place in points, 64 points back. This will be absolutely catastrophic. You can essentially say that he will be out of the championship chase. He's going to finish 12th position. It's going to leave him. What's 12th? 12th is 9 points. Yeah, he's going to be in big trouble. He's going to lose over 20-something points. Or probably, yeah, he'll lose a significant amount, 16 points to Stingray Robb. Not quite mathematically out of it yet. Still that local standing yellow in the front straightaway here, letting drivers know there's an issue down in turn number one. Of course, all the mechanics, the engineers, the strategists have been on the radio with their drivers, letting them know what's inside the racetrack. We got a battle coming here pretty soon between Antoine Camo, I think, and Colin Kaminsky. Colin trying to reel up on him. Camo 7th, Kaminsky 8th, Jacob Abel 9th. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, knock Daniel Frost out of the championship hunt here as well. Artem Petrov's watching things get out of hand as well. I think he's pretty much out of it. Petrov, P5. And Stingray, P2. That's an 8-point difference, which would move their gap from 63 to 71. $132 points still up for grabs, but unbelievably tough. Almost down to a two-driver fight. Fast lap still belongs to Devlin DeFrancesco from lap number 5, a 113.994. And considering the tire degradation we expected, I can't see anybody turning times anywhere near that now. The quickest time we've seen Stingray did a 114.3 last time by. So still 0.4 off the fast lap of these tires that are kind of going away. Stingray Rob quicker by 0.3 of a second last time by. There's 10 laps remaining, 2.4 seconds. I'm horrible at math, but that's an opportunity. If he keeps getting quicker, if the tires start going off with DeFrancesco, you could potentially see a pass for the lead for Stingray Rob. Now, do you risk it at this point? That's the key. You know the car is good. You know that you've got an opportunity to put in 3 solid races here in New Jersey and make it really hard by the time they hit St. Petersburg. Leader. Cross start finish. Stingray Rob closing. The 8 of Manuel Suleiman. He's right there as well. Parker Thompson 4th. Artem Petrov 5th. Run down here into turn number 1. You see Petrov starting to work up a little bit here on Parker Thompson, about a 10th quicker last time by. Still 9 laps to go. Colin Kaminsky able to get by Antoine Camo. So move Kaminsky now up into the 7th spot. Pabst Racing driver 6th and 7th. So some kind of an engine issue for Daniel Frost. Ends his day on lap number 12. Not quite to the halfway point. And I will say this, we're past the halfway point, so that's a bonus point for Devlin DeFrancesco. So he's on his way to 33 points here in this particular race. And I'll tell you, Stingray Rob may have to watch out here for Manuel Suleiman. That gap feels like it's shrinking down a little bit. Stingray not as quite as quick this time. Lost a bit of ground. In fact, lost 0.3 of a second to the leader. Yeah, DeFrancesco's putting some good laps in here right now. Just turned his best Sector 1 time with a 19.3, quicker than, or 19.9 rather, quicker than everyone in Sector 1. So that car really starting to work for Devlin DeFrancesco. Nowhere near the fast time, but he goes purple again. A 17.062 fast driver here in that second segment. DeFrancesco putting it down as he needs to. Nicely done so far for the driver coming in here with that deficit. Thinking about doing everything he can. And I think Jack Harvey was one of the guys when he was making those runs to try to win the Indy Lights Championship. I'd ask him on IndyCar radio, I'd say, you know, do you think about the championship? You know, where you're running, do you think about what you're going to do out there? Is there a strategy potentially, if you don't have the race to the win, to be smarter? And Jack's answer was always pretty clear, and he would just say, I'm just out here to try to win races, and if I win races, the championship will take care of itself. And that's something that it's always resonated with me. And you know what the funny thing is? I think I asked the same question to Scott Dixon earlier this year after a pretty good run at, I believe it was at Gateway. And he said the same thing. He goes, I'm just going to go win races. I'm going to try to win as many races as I possibly can, and the championship will take care of itself. And that's something I think that a lot of champions that's the kind of mindset they have. I'm not out here to try to play a chess game. I'm not going to manage my position where I am on track to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to just go out there, push as hard as I can, and win races. I'm a race car driver. I try to win races. I try to make the pass. And I think, and you've seen that so many times when it comes to championships, whether it's Joseph Newgarden or what we've seen in the past in Indy Lights and Indy Pro and USF 2000 with Oliver Askew and Kyle Kirkwood and, Pato O'Ward and, what Oliver Askew did last year. Win races and the championship kind of falls into place. And that's what's happened so far for Stingray Rob. That's why he's in the driver's seat. 4 of the last 5 races. Opened the floodgate at Mid-Ohio in that final round, able to finally crack the goose egg, win that first event, take all that pressure off his back, all the stress he had. In 48 races before that, not able to get to victory lane. So close on a couple of occasions in 2019. But to then be able to finally win that first Road to Indy event at Mid-Ohio, you could see him afterwards. You could see him on victory lane with the family. And with that pressure off, he rolled into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway knowing that Juncos had a fantastic car. Rinus VeeKay had done so well. He'd won there the year before, so he had the ability to go get race wins, and he knew personally with the confidence, having got that win at Mid-Ohio, that he could do it himself, and he did. 3 straight wins at Indy. A 4th at Mid-Ohio in the opening round, backed it up with another win. 5 wins on the year, 4 of the last 5 races, and even a second place here would be massive for Stingray Robb. When Devlin DeFrancesco gets back around here, it's going to be 5 laps remaining. Manuel Suleiman chipping away at Stingray Robb in that battle potentially for second spot. Stingray would very much like to hold on to that position. Here comes the leader across the start-finish. You'll see the gap now, guys, those of you watching here, as they work their way across. That's Stingray Robb. That's Manuel Suleiman. Last time by, Suleiman quicker by over 0.4 of a second. Gets it down now to a 1.3 second gap. 5 laps to go. That last time actually only 1/10 of a second. So 1.2. They went from 1.8 to 1.3 a lap ago. This past lap, a 1:14.8, 1:14.7. Antoine Comeau still 8th. Jacob Abel 9th. Corey Enders 10th. Parker Thompson a half a second ahead of Artem Petrov. He's been able to hold Artem back. Hunter McElroy behind Artem by about 1.8 seconds. Drivers working their way through the turn 8-9 combo, 7-8-9 combo. That long, sweeping right-hander. These guys are going to be tired by the end of this weekend. 3 races. DeFrancesco across the line. Lap number 21 is going to go in the books. $1:14.468. Stingray Robb 1:14.8. Manuel Suleiman 1:14.7. Not even a half a tenth, just chipping it away. In fact, exactly half a tenth, 0.05 of a second quicker. Suleiman 1.2 back. As they run on the racetrack, it would be an 8-point gain for Devlin DeFrancesco, moving him to within 41 points of the championship with 4 races to go. DeFrancesco and Robb have both shown good speed throughout this weekend. It all depends on how things play out in the tire strategy, I think. We have another qualifying run tomorrow morning. It's going to be a lot of head scratching, a lot of guys crunching numbers on what they think is going to be the best way to approach tire allotment for qualifying, race 2 and race 3. 3 more runs to go tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure where we are in terms of fresh rubber for all these drivers, but man, that's a calculation and a strategy call way above my pay grade. DeFrancesco's lead now 4.4 seconds. He's on his way. And I got to say, locked into the fast lap. Nobody's going to go any quicker right now with the tires the way they are. He's led the most laps. He's on pole. He's got 3 points locked already and waiting for the 30 for the win. 25 points would go to Stingray Robb for second. Artem Petrov, who currently runs in 5th, that's 17 points. He's going to lose some ground as well. A lot of ground to Stingray. Three laps remaining here in Indy Pro. Cap things off for the day. Stingray Robb, I think, pulling a bit of a gap this last time by. Indeed, he was a bit quicker than Suleiman. Big lap there to take some pressure off as we have no other really big battles on the racetrack. Parker Thompson a bit quicker than Petrov. That's a gap of about a second between those two drivers. Suleiman about Actually, almost identical laps between Suleiman and Stingray Robb, still 1.4 seconds. So bottom line is this thing is rolling out and settling in. We have no other battles on the racetrack at this point. Here's your running order. DeFrancesco, Robb, Suleiman, Thompson, and Petrov, top 5. McElroy, 6th. Kaminsky, 7th. Camo, 8th. Abel, 9th. Anderson, 10th. Finelli, 11th. And Daniel Frost out of the race in 12th. Daniel actually still sits in the race car on pit lane. I know they were looking at the car itself. I'm not sure if they continue to do so. I think maybe they do. They're continuing to maybe try to diagnose the issue here on pit lane, but Daniel not getting out of the car whatsoever, hanging out. White flag flying for Devlin DeFrancesco. 12 races this year, only the 1 win on the oval. This would be his first road course win. And for a guy with a lot of road course experience, whether it be international level karting, all the karting he did here as a young man driving in Canada and the U.S., going to Europe to run international karting, getting himself into those junior formulas in Europe with an eye potentially on trying to get to Formula One. His first victory here in the U.S. came on an oval. The second time he'd ever run an oval in a Formula car. He ends up winning it at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. This will be the first road course win for the Canadian-Italian driver, and it would be a big one because it would take 8 points off the lead for Stingray Robb. White flag flying. 7 of Corey Enders still trying to reel in Jacob Abel. Significantly quicker, almost a full second quicker last time by. Enders trying to reel in Abel for P9. But let's watch the leader work his way around through turn number 9, back over to turn number 10, through that 11A, 11B section. That brilliant yellow machine, the Kamoa-sponsored car, the Andretti Steinbrenner Racing entry, Devlin DeFrancesco ready to put win number 2 in the books for the 2020 season. Out of the final corner, he'll streak across the line, the winner. In Indy Pro 2000, 2 hands in the air, Devlin DeFrancesco, victorious on Thunderbolt Raceway here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Margin of victory, 5.3 seconds over Stingray Robb. A solid journeyman lunchbox performance for Stingray. Staying out of trouble. P2, yeah, he's going to lose 8 points, but it's still a 41-point advantage with 4 races to go. Not one driver in the paddock would not take that gap in a second. Manuel Suleiman back on the podium again. What a great run it's been for Manuel Suleiman. 4th, 1st, and 7th at Mid-Ohio. He got his first victory. He's back on the podium for D-Force Racing. Parker Thompson comes home 4th. Artem Petrov 5th. Hunter McElroy in 6th spot. Colin Kaminsky in 7th. Antoine Camo 8th. Jacob Abel in 9th. And Corey Enders rounding out the top 10. Charles Finelli and Daniel Frost cap out the dirty dozen that wrap up the field here in Indy Pro 2000.
Devlin DeFrancesco scores the first win of 3 races here at New Jersey, but more importantly, your first win on a road course this season. How good does that feel?
I think it's been a long time coming, honestly. We were very, very close in Road America the first time out. Since then, we seem to struggle a little bit speed-wise, and the test here couldn't come soon enough. We really figured out a lot about the car, and were able to move the package forward as a whole. So,
when you look back at 2020, how surprised are you that your first win came on an oval, and then your second win came on a road course?
Really wasn't expecting that, to be very honest with you. 2020's really been a crazy year, but the Andretti Steinbrenner guys have done a great job, and we just need to stay calm and keep moving forward.
Are there any big wholesale changes you guys want to make to the 17, or do you plan to leave it more as it is before we go racing tomorrow?
Generally quite happy with how we are. Maybe we'll do a couple small things, but no, generally happy.
All right, well, Devlin DeFrancesco gets the win here today, and he keeps repping those Yankees. Devlin, congratulations.
Thank you.